And so we have some time here before I get on to the rest of it. What other rumors, stories, questions, ideas that you want to address? Anything? Television, movies, video games, where are we at? Yeah, go ahead.
BioShock movie?
BioShock movie is happening, yes. It's in the early stages of development right now. BioShock 2 is in development, so we should be getting more. I believe they're going to be making some news on that at PAX at the end of the month in Seattle, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. I will definitely ask them about that. Yes?
What about some movies from the early age, we're talking about Smurfs and stuff. What about like He-Man and Thundercats?
He-Man, Thundercats, Voltron, the Herculoids, geez, what was that other one? Oh, geez.
She-Ra.
No, then he had this third creature, and I think it was
Thundar
called
the Barbarian.
Thundar, that's it. Thundar the Barbarian.
That came
yes.
before.
You know, Herculoids, Space Ghost, these are all being looked at right now for possible ideas. These are, you know, they're mining. The Hanna-Barbera properties are being looked at. I've heard some people say, I wonder if the Banana Splits. Do you remember their little live-action films like Danger Island and stuff like that?
H.F. Puff and stuff.
Yeah, Puff and stuff has been looked at. There's apparently a box set coming out, which is the Sid and Marty Krofft films. So they're I mean, series. So they're looking at a lot of stuff.
Well, the same guys who did Puff and stuff did Barney. So.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Here's a real blast from the past. Electro Woman and Dyna Girl.
Yep. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
These are all names that at one point or another have popped up. Shazam is being done as a movie, Captain Marvel. Wow. Then, of course, that's going to lead to, are we going to get ISIS? And, you know, we've heard talk that they're looking at the Green Lantern. They've apparently been very interested in doing a movie on the Flash for a while.
Well, they already did the Green Lantern and Flash as a movie.
No, they didn't.
They did the Flash as a TV series. They've never done the Green Lantern
Oh,
yet.
that must be what I mean.
Yeah.
No, wasn't the Green Lantern, they had the karate guy, Kate, what was the Green Hornet? The Green Hornet, I'm sorry.
No problem. Not a problem. So they're looking at that. Yes.
That one earlier, too.
I know they're looking at another Toy Story. Is there anything else Pixar's got in the works? Or?
Cars 2,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sure you probably might see a Wall-E down the line. You never know. It's just too early to tell, but I know Cars 2 has been looked at, and of course there'll be some original films as well. They had, Disney has got a lot of stuff going on right now. They are going to be opening a whole line. I have not seen the Nemo ride yet, because when we were there it hadn't opened yet, but they changed the submarine ride to a Finding Nemo Underwater Adventure. There's a Toy Story ride now, there's a Little Mermaid ride coming, all sorts of things. So they're doing a lot of stuff, and of course, you know, the one thing about it that everybody is kind of taking a wait-and-see attitude is that Disney is in a real state of flux right now. And what happened was, as you know, Pixar was ready to become a free agent and we're going to go on the market. Disney basically continued a partnership with a big deal that involved, this was actually quite good. This was a pretty good deal that involved a big stock option. Now, here's where it gets really funny. Steve Jobs of Apple is a big player at Pixar. Their involvement, shall we say, involved a lot of stock changing hands. Steve Jobs now became the majority stockholder and chairman of the board for Disney. And as somebody explained it to me, you know, that he went from being a studio that works with Disney to calling the shots.
So it was.
And you know, the Eisenberg is out, and you know, they have their the new CEO, they have the new direction. And one of the things he did, and I personally think this was a great idea, they had a division of Disney that was set up to make direct-to-DVD sequels to some of their classic films. One of the first things, and they also had one that was coming out to make direct-to-DVD sequels to the Pixar movies. And one of the things they did was they said, this crap's going to stop, we're not putting out these low-budget films that are, you know, going to sell because of the Disney name on them and because of the character, but they greatly undermine and devalue, in their opinion, the original films that were considered to be timeless classics. And they brought up the good question that I thought was accurate. What would Walt make of these sequels? They are these things that he would look at and say, yes, this is a worthy successor to the classic original. And the majority of them, no. These were cheaply made, thrown together to make a buck, directed videos. So they went back and said, you know, look, if it's not going to meet the standards, it's not going out. And Toy Story 3 was one of those. They said, we're not doing this. This is not going to be a direct-to-DVD film. This is not going to happen. However, they said, we do understand that there is an interest in a third Toy Story film. So they sat down and they figured it out and said, now we are going to do a direct-to-DVD sequel, but we have no problem if this is done properly, done right, as a major studio release. And apparently the idea to do the direct 3D was brought up, so that's how that's coming about. So, you know, the bottom line you have to remember with the films is it's all about the bottom line. And I had an exec tell me, and since we don't have anyone young, I can tell you his exact words. He said, Gareth, I would rather make 20 pieces of shit that get critically panned but make a profit than one film that gets, you know, breaks even and sweeps the Oscars. Because my job isn't what kind of quality did you make, it's how much money did your films make. And so, that involves a lot of pandering. What is hot? What can we sell overseas? Which is now a huge factor. You can't underestimate what is the foreign market, because there are so many new markets. It used to be, in the 80s, overseas was Europe, Australia, Japan. That was your overseas market. Now there's Russia, now there's the Middle East, now there's the Far East, now there's all these countries in Africa that have first-run theaters and stuff like that. Now, while admittedly, some of these nations, a good box office haul is $1.8, $2 million, $3 million, that sort of thing, it still adds up. You know, in the grand scheme of things, if you take $1.2 million here, $1.5 million here, $1.5 million here, $1.5 million here, put it all together, that could be an extra $40 to $50 million that you never saw before, plus the all-important home DVD. As such, one of the popular things is action films. Action films generally sell extremely well overseas because they don't get, you know, they don't have the deep plots and the heavy dialogue, which doesn't get lost in translation. That's why, you know, that's why, case in point, Stallone, the last Rambo film did quite well overseas. To the point where they're considering another one. Because while we over here say, hey, isn't he getting old? The studios are saying, look, you name me one young action star that's delivering the goods right now. Stallone is still drawing people in. He's still selling these things. They sell well on DVDs. We're not going to give him $100 million to make the film, but we say here, you know, Stallone, here's $25 million, $30 million, go make us another Rambo film. It's a no-brainer. That's a license to print money. Even if it bombs horribly here, it'll make it up overseas. Why do you think Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme are basically doing nothing but direct-to-DVD movies that are shot over in Russia and the Far East? You know, we sit here and say, oh, geez, they're off the limelight. You go on IMDb, they've got 2 to 3 movies a year. Because they're not being made for 40 to 50 million, they're being made for like 10 to 12 million, but they're turning a profit.
Yeah, there's actors all over the place doing that.
Yeah, and so that is what you're seeing now. The problem is the studios are nervous, and you know, rightfully so. They took a beating with the writer's strike. They're staring right down the barrel of a loaded gun with an actor's strike right now. They do not want, nor can they have, a big work stoppage like this. Right now, they're sitting here saying, as it looks now, we're back, you know, that's the whole marketing thing right now. They're going to the advertisers and saying, we're back, we're solid, there's labor peace, we are going to have your favorite shows, plus a whole bunch of new shows that we're very excited over, such as Abrams' new, you know, sci-fi series on Fox. We're coming back, we've got your stuff, we're back here in the fall, we're ready to go, get behind us and advertise. And that could all come to a stop halfway through the season if an actor strike hits.